Well, good evening, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 10th of October, 2022, Columbus Day evening here. We'll talk about our journey here. That surprised my girls here on a sailing trip here. And again, we'll talk about that here toward the end. Starting off here with the last week recap here of the world here, week ending Saturday, 8 October. Big map here is retail trends, weather trends versus last year. Cold was the theme here in the U.S., 6.7 degrees colder than last year, coldest in 3 years. That's quite a bit misleading, actually, because if we look at the East Coast, it was actually the coldest in 26 years. West Coast, the hottest in 1. So when you average all out, it kind of smoothed it out across the country, but very cold East, again, for the U.S. So good for seasonal sales. Pretty much wall-to-wall dry, 77% drier than last year, driest in 31 years here in the U.S. Other cold spots probably there in Australia, China. Australia, again, continuing their cold trends. Coldest spring now in 11 years here to start. Maps, inset left are the trends versus average. Farmers are out there doing their thing here. Again, good news, at least for the dry weather, is may have certainly had an impact on crop yields this year, but third dry year. So 77% of the country now in dry to drought phases. So kind of expanding here as we finish out 2022 here. Last year, about 62%. So 3 dry years in a row. Can almost guarantee you with about 95% certainty that this is going to enter a wet cycle for 2023, 2024 as this very unusual La Nina PDO AMO cycle. Again, we have a 3-year La Nina, one of the coldest Pacific Decadal Oscillation cycles, very cold North Pacific. Again, probably top 2 in 165 years, and a very warm Atlantic cycle. Those have only teamed up twice in the past 157 years. So again, very unusual for sure, but look for the unusual to get wet here in 2023. This week here, again, week ending Saturday, 15 October. Continuing the same general trends of a warm west, cool east, but here in the U.S. about 2.4 cooler than last year, 11th warmest in 37 years. Again, very misleading because it's one extreme or the other, very hot west and much cooler here in the east. Rainfall trends are still down about 67% versus last year, least in 7 years, fourth driest in 37 years. So again, kind of a cool dry is a general theme here, and good for seasonal sales here. This is definitely a plus for pantry loading and everything we need to buy here in the fall. Next week here, again, hard to believe this third week of October here, but week ending 22 October, about 3.9 degrees colder than last year, coolest in 4 years, 11th coolest in 37 years. So see a little bit of that expanding cool there, again, even into the central U.S., Midwest. So again, this is going to drive a lot of seasonal sales in the Midwest, South Central. Here in the East, again, we probably are starting to cannibalize some sales after about, this will be our 4th week of below normal temperatures. So again, the cooler trends we probably have already bought what we needed for the pantry loading and hoodies and sweatshirts and whatnot. So again, dry trends continue, 45% drier than last year, at least in 9 years. So again, good news again for farmers out there harvesting. If we just aggregate these trends here for the 2-week period overall, so generally cooler trends, Eastern North America, hotter trends all the way up into Canada for the Western North America. Europe starting to warm up a bit. UK maybe out a little bit on the cool side, but most of Europe warmer trends here. We'll end here with this is the little Angelina Kirk again. So in memory here of the Columbus Day weekend here, thought we'd talk about that. So we took the girls on a couple trips here. So this is her pretending to navigate the boat here. It was the Cellulosa. It's about a 50-foot catamaran type boat, 1 mast, 2 sails. Santa Maria, I think it was actually officially named, was the Maria Galante, about a 117-foot vessel, 3 masts, 3 sails. Back in 1492, a little bit of history lesson here. Columbus actually took 4 voyages. People think sometimes he actually found America. Well, kind of, not really. Got as close as the Bahamas, parts of Central America, but obviously opened up the European trade routes, ultimately into North America here. Our voyages here were off of Ocean City, Maryland. Took a couple of sunsets and full moon excursions here. A little one absolutely loved it, seeing the full moon and Jupiter. In fact, she was smarter than the captain here of the boat, knowing that was Jupiter above the moon here. Took our little weather instrument here and took some wind measurements, about 10 miles per hour. It's chilly. It was a warm start to the Columbus Day weekend, and then a little bit cooler here in the evening. But she was just happy as a little kid here. But this is Captain Kirk enjoying the sunset on the back of the boat. Again, absolutely gorgeous sunset here in Ocean City, Maryland. I think the little one knows all about the stern, starboard, port, you name it. She knows more than I do at this stage. She enjoyed looking at all the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and everything on this, even the potty on the boat. So again, she got quite the lesson about the neat features of this boat. Was again, it actually sailed around the world back in 2016. I'm not sure I'm brave enough to do that, but again, fascinating trip here, and little ones loved it, and here she is again. She knows she turned the boat a few times. So again, she was a happy little 6-year-old here. So she'll be presenting to her first grade class here this week on all the things she learned here about sailing across the Atlantic seaboard here. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great evening here, and we will be back a little earlier next week on our normal Saturday evening. Have a great night. Talk soon.